I look around this room, and I was very thrilled, frankly, to have this opportunity come to me just the other day to speak before this particular group. Sitting out in the audience are a few judges that were around when I ran my first race through Kentucky in 1975. And I carried a diary with me, an old book, as an old history teacher, to document that I'd been to every county in the state. Gathered some 3,000 signatures in that book. Judges, magistrates, county clerks, citizens, barbers, etc. To document that. I still have that book today, and I've carried it with me, as many of you know, and have seen me at Fancy Farm picnics every year since Mike Miller first ran for office. And I've been back down there almost every year since George Wallace spoke down there. And the reason I go there is because it keeps you in touch with the people. In touch with the people. Wayne Rutherford just ran again. He remembers when my old Silversides Greyhound bus broke down in Pikeville, when my family was out there singing with me. We took that old Greyhound bus on that first trip. We'd jump out, had speakers on top of it, we'd sing a few songs, gather a little crowd, and ask for some votes, and I'd give a little speech. That's all history. I ran again in statewide, and I carried that same diary with me, but I took cameras. And I filmed the history every county in Kentucky, all 120 of them. And then my wife and I donated a set of those tapes to every county library in the state. I still owe myself $50,000 if you go over and look at the registry over there for making that donation. But that's okay. It was good for the citizens of far western Kentucky, eastern Kentucky, to see what's happening in northern Kentucky and central Kentucky, regardless of what party you're from. I still have those tapes down. I'm re-editing them on DVDs so that we can continue to educate people. I produced more public access shows than anybody in, I think, the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Produced the very first one in 1982 in northern Kentucky called Home Weatherization. Received an award from the National JCs as the #1 project working to help senior citizens. Today we weatherize homes all over the state and all over the nation. But I can tell you one thing that I know as a county judge, you know. There needs to be a stop to all unfunded mandates. Do I hear a hand of applause on that? When people go off and travel to Washington and their grandiose ideas, which some are good, but when they pass things and it comes down to you as county officials to have to find the funds to fulfill those mandates, it places your budgets, which you have to balance, I might add, which you have to balance, in great jeopardy. Now I'm here not just to talk about what I can do in reference to local government, state government, federal government. I spent 3 years with a congressman, a very honorable man. I never will forget sitting in a great hall down at the Galt House years ago. I was sitting with the presidents of the universities. This fellow walked by, sort of tall and lanky with glasses. And they said, "There goes John Breckinridge. Good man, honest man." Then one of the presidents said, "But you can't control him. He's erratic." And I said, "Thank God, that's the man I want to work for." And I went to work for him for 3 years as his administrative assistant and field representative. And it was 3 of the best years of my life. Because you know what he told me? He said, "Be honest, go out and help people, And you ask the people in northern Kentucky if I haven't stood up and helped them, and I think you'll find to a person I've not been afraid to do so. Whether it was on energy, or education, or any other topic. We worked in our office. And we worked with the county judges and the magistrates across this state. I was proud of those years. I was proud of being Commissioner of Motor Vehicles under Martha Lane Collins for a short period of time. And I was proud of running for Superintendent of Education across the state of Kentucky to make sure that education reform works. And it still needs to be made sure that it works. But the real reason I'm here today is to tell you something that I think is important to our nation. We need to make not a right turn or a left turn, we need to make a U-turn, as the old Baptist minister said to me many years ago. Make a U-turn in your life. Being Baptist won't stop you from sinning, but it'll certainly stop you from enjoying it. I know, I was born and raised a Baptist. But I married a good Catholic girl from Campbell County that had 600 people at her family reunion. Her name's June Stephenson, and she'd be here with me today, except she's teaching a Beth Moore Bible Studies class to a group of women in northern Kentucky. And I told her, hon, that's where the Lord wants you today. And the Lord wanted me here today. Here to speak to the will of the Lord. When I filed my papers over there, it wasn't to run against anybody. It was to run to give a message that this country has to stand forward, look up, and do what's right. We have to bring God into our hearts, bring God back into our country, bring God back into our schools, and if we don't, we suffer the consequences. 4,200 babies are aborted every day. Every single day. There needs to be a human life amendment to protect all life, to protect you and me, to protect us. Corporations, the greatest free enterprise system in the world, is what we have in this country. We will overcome this economic depression or recession. For people like me, it's a depression. The last $500 I had was either going to go to a bankruptcy lawyer to file bankruptcy, or it was going to go to file my papers with you to put my application in for a job. I told the Secretary of State, I said, the state needs the money and I need the job. Now I'm going to tell you something. I don't know whether the other candidates can say that or not. But I can tell you that John Stephenson needs the job. And if you want someone to represent you in Washington, D.C., who can speak on his feet, sing My Old Kentucky Home as taught by Happy Chandler when I was president of the student body at the UK Community College, someone who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, someone who can give you his telephone number, 653-7000, area code 859, and I answer the phone. That's the kind of United States Senator we need, we want, and I think if you who are what I think you are as county judges, you know it's true. We need to make a U-turn, and I'll close with this little message. Not from me, but from the Lord. Because that's why I'm here today. He sent me. I hope you listen to that. He sent me. It's His will, not mine. I'd rather have Jesus than silver or gold. I'd rather be His than have riches untold. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords. be held in sin's dread sway. I'd rather have Jesus than anything this world affords today. That's the message I want to take to Frankfurt. That's the message I want to take to Washington, D.C. That's the message I want to take around the world for the Lord. God bless you and thank you for having me.